Hola, people. So, we're late. I know it. Okay, so a lot happened while I was late because, first of all, you turn this goddamn laptop on and updates had to happen. I was on the phone. Didn't really matter because shit happens. So I apologize. DWT, Deviant Witchery time. But yeah, we'll have fun. It is a legit thing. That shit's gonna be like in the dictionary. It's gonna be everywhere. DWT, Deviant Witchery time. Motherfuckers be late. No, so well, I'll let you express tonight's show, Melissa, because this is something that you brought up as well, and it's something that you experienced, as in, received messages, and you saw a common pattern. So what's tonight's show about?
Well, tonight's show is about when you are a witch, but you're not feeling exactly very magical. And we all have those moments where it's just you're a witch, you have cast spells before, but you go through these times where you just don't feel the connection. You feel like there's something, almost like something's blocking you, even though usually, at least in my case, it's only myself and my doubts. But like I said, I was telling Michael earlier, I've noticed a common thread in the last week or so where people have been bringing it up, pretty often. And I think I read an article about it as well. And then last night I sort of had a dream about it, and I was like, maybe we should just talk about this because I keep seeing it everywhere. It must need to be expressed and talked about. So that's what we're going to talk about, not feeling your mojo, feeling like a Darren when you are a Samantha.
I know, she had me rolling because she had all these freaking Sabrina expressions and different titles, and I'm like, it was great. Well, and y'all, if you have any questions, because I do, like Melissa said, this is a common thing for a lot of people. If you have any questions about how to maybe take your power back when you feel that it's lost, or how to keep in that flow, our lovely word, to keep in the flow of our craft and our nature when other things infiltrate. And if you have any experiences that you want to share, or if you need any insight on how to keep where we channel that witch essence and where we're constantly in that power, how to make the best of it, and how to be in it and always remind ourselves to be in it, feel free to use the Q&A. It's up. Ask questions, say hi, let us know you're live, all that shit. But yeah, it's not a fun feeling, okay? When you're a witch and you practice and you become stronger and you strengthen your skills and you do a lot of different things and you become empowered, it is not a fun feeling when all of a sudden it feels like that was taken away from you. Or it feels like all these other things are piling up, and you don't forget that you're a practitioner. You don't forget what you are capable of, but there is this disconnect. There is this feeling that separates you, and you from the witch self. So, hola. So yes, it's so important to understand that that's normal. And that's natural, and because I've had a lot of people express depending on where you are in the community, depending on who you come across and who you ask and what you say, there will be people who will try and put you down for feeling disconnected, or they will try to come across as elitist in the sense where they're always connected. They don't know what you're going through because they're always, shitting fucking rainbows and they're just always magical and they always feel magical and they're just great. They're awesome. Yay. And that's what they channel. That's what they express to the outside world. And so when you come to people with, you feel like shit, they can't help you because they don't want to help you because maybe they don't know the answer to that. So they have to perceive or express themselves as they're fine when they're not. So don't ever feel like this is wrong, or that this is an issue that can't go away, or it's something that you're doing to make you feel bad. It's just it's a process. It's a natural process, especially because I'm rambling, y'all. It's a natural process, especially when you're about to hit a growth spurt in your craft.
Yes, that is something people don't really realize, and it's not talked about a lot, especially in the witch community. But I know that with us, the Deviants here, we have all talked about this several times together, that we will have these moments of lull where we feel like we're totally disconnected from everything, and then when we feel that connection come back, when we go through these processes where we, are reconnecting, doing things for that specific purpose, that all of a sudden it's like, bam, something big just happened, and it's really interesting that it's not spoken about a lot. I feel like some witches feel like if they say, I'm not feeling connected, I don't feel like a witch today, I'm not feeling spirit, I'm not feeling magical, that means that everything that they've done in the past is like nullified. That's the feeling that I get. You know what I mean?
Also,
go ahead.
I think it's also like a form of protection, because some people, and depending, I don't know if you can hear that, but trains all over the goddamn place. I think some people are scared, and I think that says a lot about the person and maybe their practice. But they're scared to share that. Damn, it's loud.
It sounds so weird too.
They're seriously. Oh my god. Let the train, let it pass. That's funny. I'm still going to share what I'm going to share. So people are scared, witches are scared of sharing that they feel disconnected, because they think if they share it with the wrong person, that somehow they're going to take advantage of that, which you very well can, but just because you're disconnected does not mean you're not protected.
Right.
But it's... And I was just telling Melissa, I was on the phone prior to all the shit that just happened, the updates and my phone conversation. But it's important. There's certain things that we can do to keep us in the flow. When we get to that place, we're like, fuck, I lost my mojo. What can I do to get it back? What can I do to make sure that I remember myself and remember who I am and what I'm capable of? It's not always as easy as going to something you're really good at, like let's say you're good with cards. You might feel disconnected from it, so you can't just go pick up cards, because you might get more frustrated because that you can't work with them for a moment. A really good thing you can do is talk to people that you care about, and more so talk to people who are inspiring and fun, and as well they share like metaphysical skills and understandings. So when you're talking to them and they say some off the wall shit, you're like, bam, that inspires me. Like that it like kickstarts that witchy brain, that witchy mentality and that perception, and it charges it, almost like a battery that dies. You need it to be charged again. It charges it and it fuels you, and you remember. It starts to get you thinking, okay, well, you said this. That's interesting. I like that. I'm going to take it to a different level. I'm going to, see if we can create this over here. And so once you start engaging with the creative mind, the artistic expression of the witch, you start to channel that energy again, and it starts to raise up and rise, and you feel it. Therefore, you project it and you step into it again. It's not always that easy, but sometimes it's easy to surround yourself with people of like mind. Therefore, you connect and you get inspired and you remember.
Right. Well, I have what I like to call triggers for myself whenever I feel that way. And this is going to sound kind of silly probably, but I don't care. I like to watch movies like Practical Magic. that is inspiring to me. I enjoy that movie, and there's a lot of things that go on in that movie that make me think of things that I've done in the past. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember feeling that way. Music to me is really, of course, music is one of those things that's closely connected to your memory, like smells. When you hear a certain song, it puts you right back to where you were when you first heard that song. And I enjoy music. When I cast, I'll play music, and when I'm creating, I like to play music. So I'll listen to certain music, and it'll put me back in that moment, and then I feel that connection again. And I'll look on Pinterest and look up like witchcraft spell ideas or crafting ideas or whatever, and I'll look through that, and I'll get inspired by something. It's just like small things that I can remember, and put myself back in a moment where I felt more connected. But even then, like just walking outside on a clear night and looking up at the stars, and I have my feet in the grass, and I can really feel connected that way too. You know?
I like that. I like that a lot. And what I really like is the music part of it. And I think we can take this, and any of you who practice, you can take this and create your own form, like your own trigger. But I honestly, when I do readings, when I do healings, when I create my products and such, I implement music. I always listen to music when I'm doing, mostly listen to music when I'm doing shit. So when I have a playlist, I go and I play it. It triggers those experiences. It gives me the visual, and then I get those feelings. And so it disperses like the blockages and that energy that's preventing you from feeling like yourself. And that music starts, especially with music, because it's just so, it channels so much, and it brings about like different emotional responses and different things. So it activates all of that. It releases that blockage, and it puts you into that space, and you remember, and you feel creative again, or it starts to help you feel better. So, but you can do this with anything. So anytime you do a working, if you have like a specific trigger, even if it's just like, let's do this. Hey, that's my trigger. We're going to do this. Or we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this, like whatever you do, anything you do, or even having like a specific glass filled with something specific in there. You go to it, you touch it before you do your working. Something that you can take with you every time you cast for a while. And so when you get to that point where you feel like you've lost your shit, like you just don't feel connected, you can take that trigger, take that experience, and utilize it to help you remember.
Right. Smells too. Like I burn a lot of dragon's blood incense a lot of times whenever I'm doing spell work. So that to me just resonates with magic. Pine too. I love pine incense.
Oh my gosh, me too. I've been using pine today.
I have too. I burned a lot of pine today.
They hurt.
I love it. I just love that smell, that crisp, clear smell. It makes me think of winter a lot of times too. And I love doing outdoorsy stuff on the really nice winter nights, not when it's like 30 degrees outside, but when it's not just too cold. And smells are another key factor in triggering memories. And that's all over across the board, not just with magic. So to me, smells are really important too. So you can light incense when you're feeling like shit, and it'll put you right back in that moment. And you just almost kind of like borrowing energy from the past and pulling it into the present.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we spread, when we cast, when we do anything, we leave patterns of energy. We leave packets of, did I say live again? We leave packets of energy in those places, and it's a positive thing for us because we can go back and take them and remember. But another thing that you can do is, if you cast a circle, you don't even have to cast a circle. No, just walk a circle in a counterclockwise motion. Instead of going, clockwise, go counterclockwise, raise that energy up, because when you go counterclockwise, it's almost going against the current. And so you're fighting, and as you're fighting, and you can go fast, like run, whatever you want to do, but make sure that there's no sharp objects, because you can fall. And not saying that I've done it before, but it happens. Like, people fall, and it's not a fun experience. You might hit your head, and you might remember yourself, and it's fine. You might hit your head, and you might not remember. Shit happens. We're not going to go there. But falling, it's bound to happen. Anyways, counterclockwise. And when you go counterclockwise, again, it's resistance. And therefore, you're fighting yourself. You're fighting this energy, and you're raising it at the same time. So you're remembering that there's something, there's a disconnect there. And then as you go counterclockwise in a circle, you're kind of processing it as you go through the motion of walking, running, whatever, the circle. And it brings it up. And as it comes up, you can sense it, you can feel it, you can process it. However you process energy, whether it is like you see it, feel it, you sniff it, you process it and let it go and let it release. And keep doing that until you feel you really have it. You feel like there's enough energy raised, and you've like processed everything that you feel is a reason for your disconnect. And then raise your hands up and raise your body up and let that shit just go. Like, let it go to the sky, let it go to the stars, let it go up, and release it and allow it to be burst it. Like, once you send that shit up, like, just mentally explode it and see it like just boom, just like explode. And it's no longer an issue, it's no longer a problem. But I love working in, like, when I do such things in a counterclockwise motion, just because that works for me. And it speaks of what's happening. If you were just going through the motions, you'd be going clockwise, and you'd be where you'd still be going in a circle as you. But when you go reverse, you're fighting against the current. Therefore, you're fighting against that disconnect. And eventually, it'll be like there's two parts of you. There'll be the person that you are, and then that disconnect energy will almost like just pop out. And eventually, you'll have to, like, again, step into it, process it, and then send it out.
Right. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I really enjoy that. Also, one of the things I also like to do if I'm feeling not so witchy is to cast a spell that I cast recently. Like, if I cast a protection spell, sort of reenact it in a way, because it's, again, sort of tying you back to something you've already done that you know is successful. Or even bringing my black book out and mess around in that, because I don't do that near as often as I should. So when I'm feeling sort of whenever it comes to magic, I'll pull that out and be like, okay, let's start adding stuff in, because I'll have a pile of crap I need to put in there. And after the first few spells I rewrite and put in there, or whatever I'm putting in there, I really start to reconnect again. I start to feel that energy again. You know, and there's just so many ways that you can get out of that funk. You just have to, try different things. Some things work better than others. It just depends on how deep the funk is.
How deep does your funk go? Because no, but y'all, what do you do to take your power back? What do you do when you feel disconnected, and to remind yourself of who you are, what you are, and what you practice? I would love to hear from you. But there will be times, I'm not going to say it happens often. I'm not going to say it does. Again, it just depends on who notices you and the influence, and it just depends on so many different things. But there will be times where other witches, other practitioners, they will cast against you, and they will create that disconnect. They will do what they can to make sure you feel disconnected from yourself and from your power. I will say that is a very rare thing that another witch can take your power. I'm not going to say it's impossible, because it's not, but let's just be honest. There are very few people who actually practice their craft as intensely and who live it intensely and who understand such things. So it's not something that's going to be common. So I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah, so there is there is a time, and there will be a time where you might face where another practitioner is going to create that for you. So how would you, Miss Melissa, how would you tackle that if someone, let's say someone threw that at you, someone tried to disconnect you from your power, and you felt it, and you were experiencing it, you knew that it was another practitioner. How would you disconnect? Or how would you connection back?
Right. Well, honestly, I guess it would depend on how much it affected me. If it was not too bad, but I could tell I was feeling resistance. Honestly, a good shower with a salt scrub could probably do the trick, depending on what, how I'm feeling and what's going on. Running water is a great way to cleanse out anything. But if it was something that's really putting me in a bad funk to where I just felt like completely disconnected, well, honestly, gosh, there's so many things that you could do. I would probably do something along the lines of gathering up that blockage and sending it back to them instead of, dwelling in the funk, because that would piss me off. Quite frankly, it would make me really mad. Right. So it would probably be along the lines of either pop it and filling that pop it up with something like, honestly, I'd probably make 2 poppets. I'd make a poppet myself and a poppet of whoever was casting the spell, have them tied together or not disconnect the material whenever I make the poppets, and then cut it. That would be part of the spell process once the poppets were done. And then I would put in poppy seeds, mustard seeds, and probably mirror pieces to reflect what they had done back to them. And especially as I was cutting the cord, I would definitely want that once the cord was cut for those mirror pieces. So I would probably put mirror pieces on myself facing outward. So once that cord was cut, everything that was connected to me would be reflected back at them. And yeah, that's probably how I would handle it. But it just depends on the person and how pissed I was, because that's sort of mild.
And that's an important thing for, depending on who we're addressing, because yes, we understand that a lot of you will already know this, but for those of you who don't, this is good information and a refresher. But depending on how you feel, depending on what arises, that will also influence how you respond. Because if it's just like something that's an annoyance and it's not like really big, then you respond lightly. You don't ever respond full force ever, unless it's required. Because the minute that I've said this before, the minute that you show someone what you're fully capable of, and you go out like that, they already know you. Like, why bother? Like, they already have the upper hand, really, because of it. So you discern the situation, you figure out if you need to kind of how deep it is and how harsh you need to be or not harsh, and then you tackle it appropriately.
And I would want to confuse them. I wouldn't want them to know that I was sending that back to them, hence the poppy seeds and mustard seeds, and blind them to probably. That way they don't know that it's necessary, like that their shit isn't working anymore, because you don't want to give them an absolute, notification of, oh, my spell's not working and they just threw this shit back at me, So, yeah, and then that just coincides with what Michael said about kind of, not giving everything you've got, so you don't waste your wad all in one shot.
That did not sound right. That is, anyway. Don't want to. No. So no, but truly, there again is so much you can do. Sometimes like a basic cleansing can rid that nuisance. If it is very deep, then what I would do, again, like Melissa expressed, is use poppets, but I probably would use apples. I would use 2 apples, one to represent me and one to represent the person who's trying to fuck with me. I would create the one apple that represented me to be more, protected and everything I want. And then I would create the other apple to represent what I want to happen to the other person. And I would take my disconnect feeling, because you can, if you scan your energy, if you tune in, you can see where you're disconnected. You can see where there might be things going at you, especially on an energetic level. You scan that area. If there are cords, if there's shit plugged into you, instead of unplugging it and setting it back, I would unplug it and put it into my apple that represents them, because then everything they do is being sent back to them, but they still think that they're still trying to send your way. They're not going to find out, like, they're fucking themselves over until it's time to find out. I would let that happen for a while, and then I'd pay attention to my surroundings. Is someone standing out to me? Is someone suffering? Is someone feeling or saying that they're feeling the same way that I was feeling? I'd pay attention to that shit. And then when I finally either get my confirmation or I'm just done with it, I would then put my mark on that apple. Because like you said, I want them to know, look, bitch, I'm the bigger witch in this situation. And it's not an ego thing. It's I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to dominate here. So therefore, I would do that, and I would probably slam a rose thorn into the apple. Possibly, it's on my mind now because I was just expressing it, but tumbleweed, anything with thorns, because that's how I am. If someone's trying to fuck with me, I don't take it lightly, and I'm going to make sure they're not going to do it again. So you try to piss me off, you're going to get burned, lose a limb, and that's it. Go away.
Right.
Right.
Amy says, if someone was jamming me up, I would cut cords and enhance my shielding and protection borders, enhance shields with liquid mirror to send back. Which, yes, definitely. And also, you would want to make sure you remove that energy that's making you feel like crap, and replace it with something else. You don't want to just leave a hole, because anything can come in and fill that hole. And, so that would be something I would add to that. But that's awesome. That's what I would do as well.
Absolutely. And you have to do what you're strong in and what you feel is takes precedence in your craft. Please don't slap me or punch me for pronouncing your name wrong. Oh shit. Layloken, hopefully. If I said it wrong, please correct me. But I tried. So, he expressed, I enter slumps, but they pass, just have to give it time. It passes. And that's absolutely true. And that kind of goes with what I wanted to express as well. And he's absolutely right. It does pass. It's temporary. It's not, unless it's something that's being put on you. But most times it's due to growth spurts. It's a temporary thing, and it does pass. And so that's something that we have to hold on to. Like when we get into these funks and we feel like we've lost our power and blah, 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 we have to realize it's temporary. And we have to take a step back and just say, maybe I need some time. Oh, maybe I need some time to process, and maybe I'm just super stressed that I'm not necessarily disconnected from my skill set, my power. I just can't focus on it right now because I have other shit that I have to focus on. And it's so important that when this happens, you don't fucking automatically think that you're cursed, or you don't fucking think that it's like you're gonna die. You're gonna die. Like it's the end of the world. You're gonna die.
Right, because a lot of times, a lot of times you can feel like someone is blocking you, and it's just yourself. I read somewhere here, I think it was in our group, someone posted that they felt like they have been bound. A lot of times it's just you. I mean, and that's not, I'm not saying that to be insulting or to not take anything seriously, but truly, a lot of times it's just yourself. We are often our own worst enemies when it comes to things like that. So I never, ever assume automatically that it's because of someone else.
Exactly. That's so important. Even if eventually you find out it's because of someone else, you don't want to, first of all, you don't want to give power away when it just doesn't need to happen. Second of all, that just that intensifies the worry, that intensifies the stress, that intensifies the whole disconnect. So when you do feel disconnected, the first thing that I always think is like, okay, cool. I'm experiencing a growth spurt, but this is a time for me to kind of pay attention. What's going on? What did I miss? What do I need to do? Shit happens. Let's process, and I might get a tail next week. I don't know. Might grow some horns. A growth spurt, you never know. But, it's shit like that. Like, just, I'm not going to tell you to be positive all the time, but it's really good for anyone to remain in power even when you're disconnected. And a way to do that is to realize that these things happen. It's not something to what the fuck is going on out there? Oh, sorry. It's not something to worry about until you have to. Start small.
Exactly.
Start small, process information, let it come to you, and then start tackling it. Okay, got that. Well, I was close enough, Laylokin.
I'm so glad you tried before I tried, because I don't think I would have pronounced it like that.
I like it. I like it, but I
do too. I just know I couldn't pronounce it.
I know. Every time I see your name, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna say hey, or just like that person over there, because I'm gonna fuck up that name so bad. But it's really not that hard once you
put it out there.
Just so yeah, y'all. If there are any other things that you would do, what do you do to stay connected? Share and let's talk about it. You have any questions that you'd like us to express and answer? Feel free. We are here, and we will definitely do our best to answer your questions. I'm trying to think of anything else that you could. Because I love my tarot. Another great way to process like disconnect is to use tarot cards. You get your deck, and I express this a lot in spell work because it's really easy for people to utilize. And you can even do this with clients, like people who are not magical, but they're still going through a funk, and you want to help them kind of process that energy and flow through it. What you can do is take a card that represents how you feel. Okay, right. So you have that card and it represents how you feel, what you do, and who you are. Then you want to think, okay, if I get a little better, How does that feel? Like, what does a little better from this point feel like? Find a card that represents that. And then find a card. How am I really going to push through this? What's going to really, like, what card is going to really, like, pull this through and get me to where I need to be? Go through the deck, find a card, and pull that out. There's some very interesting things happening. And then your final card, your last card, how am I going to feel when I'm on top of this shit? You know, I feel empowered. I'm like, I'm great. I feel amazing. I am super fucking Endora. Like, I'm a bitch witch, and I got this shit. Like, we're good. Okay? So go through the deck, put that card out. Now, you know, get into a meditative state, trance a little, do what you do to connect and to kind of get into an altered state, and enter the cards. Put yourself in the first card, and you feel it, and this is who you are, and this is where you are, and this is what you're doing, okay? And then you take that energy, and then you push that energy, that you have to push it. You can't just go from one to the other. You have to push that energy into the next. So you're pushing that energy, and you're flowing with it, and you're just going into the next card. That next card then reacts to the first card, the first card's energy. I know it sounds complex, possibly, but it's not. It's easy. So you go into the next card, and then that card is starting to help your energy. It's starting to change and alter that energy from the first card. And you feel a little better. You're stepping into something different, and you're processing, and it's okay. Like, you feel a little better. You do the same thing. You keep processing. You push that energy into the next card. Now this is where you get some really, like, some major transformation. So you take that card and that energy, and it starts to eat away and, like, just disperse. And that's gonna be like the word of the fucking night, disperse. But it gets rid of that shit. And then you step into that energy, and you become that card right there. You feel better, you're empowered, you're strong. And now you get to have your cake and eat it too, y'all. You take that energy, push it into your last card, and then bam, you're really strong. You got the good shit because you step into this royal card. You step into this card where it's like, it's everything you want to be. It influences you, and you channel that energy and you raise it, and it's perfect. And you feel good. And you smile. You have to smile. You have to smile through this shit. And then the last step is, instead, you know, you have all the energy there. Take that energy and then put it into you. And then, like, comb the goddamn aura. Just comb that shit. Like, place that energy into you and then move it around and make sure you get everywhere. Okay? You step into it. You become it. Energy shifts energy. You made a space for energy. You put it inside of you. You process through it. And now you're becoming it. Peace out, man.
And let's see. Weekend Fury says, as silly as it may seem, I'm in a slump at the moment, but the craft is helping me get reconnected again. And that's totally not silly. I mean, that's something I think that everyone does. We like to be inspired by things like that, you know. So that's definitely not silly at all.
May May. I like saying May May. She's like, I'm watching. Hello, guys. Peace.
Hey.
No, it's not silly. It's not. And it's and this does kind of, I guess it resonates a little bit, but I know a lot of witches who practice and they were really good at what they did, but I don't know what happened. There was something. They went back to Christianity, which, whatever, that's your thing. That's cool. But it wasn't their thing. Like, they were witches and they had strength and they had power. They freaked out. They freaked out. Therefore, they went back.
Yeah.
And so they had a slump. Like, they and now where they're at, they're not happy. They're not happy, and they don't know why. Well, they're not happy because they're not in what they're supposed to be in. They're not in what makes them happy, what makes them thrive. So when you disconnect from your craft, it does make you like grumpy and lethargic, and it just makes you all gross. But when you come back to it and you find out this is a part of who you are, it's like remembering yourself. You can't neglect yourself and be happy.
Exactly. And that to me is one of the most frustrating things that I have seen, is that people will get into slumps like this. They think they're alone. They think that means that this isn't the right path for them. And so they leave. They kind of give up. And not that I blame the witchy community, but I do feel like more witches should speak about these things, instead of, taking on the assumption that, oh, if I talk about it, then that's somehow a bad thing or a negative thing. It's not. And if more witches opened up to the fact that, hey, we all go through this does happen, and people wouldn't be so frustrated and leave. Again, I'm not really blaming one in particular person or anything like that. It's just I feel like that is something that we as witches in this community need to work on, because that's not usually the case. Everyone gets in a slump. Just because you're not feeling super powerful today doesn't mean you won't feel super powerful in a week from now. But if you just give up and literally throw your power away, then who knows what could have been.
Right. I went to this was like fucking century ago. Shit. I went to a pagan festival, pagan pride, pagan something ages ago. Like, it was when I was in beauty school still, and I was like, bitch, like all these
wow.
yeah, I know, it was ages ago. Like they all these people got their Christian holidays off, and they weren't gonna give it to me off. I'm like, this is my faith. You're gonna give it to me off, or we're gonna have an issue. Okay, no issue. Oh, well, that's right. So, anyways, unnecessary information, but go to Pagan Pride, Pagan whatever. Is it Pagan Pride? Yeah. Anyways, there was this witch there, and she's very, very fascinating. She taught.
Are you there?
Did I freeze?
For me, you were.
Okay, sorry, y'all. I thought you were frozen. Can you hear
Maybe
me
it
now?
was me. Maybe it was me that was frozen.
Well, I'll just repeat myself because I can. So I went to Pagan Pride. There was this witch there teaching classes, and one of the classes that she was teaching was just about being a witch and standing in your power and just being who you are and loving yourself. And it wasn't like love as in like, let's love and lap this shit up. No, it was about accepting yourself and finding your power and finding that strength and knowing yourself enough to embrace all that you are, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you cry, and what pains you. Like, all of that is a part of who we are, and all of that is a necessity, because you can't necessarily forget your pain. You can't necessarily forget your past and what you've been through and what has shaped you to be. You can't forget it, and because if you forget it, then who do you become? If you try to erase it from your life, then you change everything about the person you are today. And so she taught that you need to step into who you are, not be ashamed of who you are, not be ashamed of where you've come from, the hardships and all these other challenges that you've experienced. But where I'm kind of like rambling, y'all, but what at the end, she was funny, she scared me, because she said she had everyone stand up, and she was like, you have to like firmly plant your feet on the ground. You have to have like this warrior stature. You have to like just, you're in charge here. This is your body. You are proud of it. You have to stand in your power. You have to stand in your strength. And you got to walk and talk and express yourself to the world. Like, your shit. You know who you are. And no one is going to come and push you down. No one. But you have all that, you create that. And then you have to say, I now claim all my power. I now claim every bit of myself that I have given today, I call my power back to me now. Well, when she said now, she like fucking screamed and no one was expecting it. And I was like, oh shit. Like, she was like, you gotta be fierce. I'm like, you could have warned a bitch. Like, you could have warned someone. I'm glad I didn't have to pee. But no, but seriously, like, you have to stand and claim yourself, because every day we give of ourselves. Depending on your job and what you do, we, especially as readers and witches, we help people. We are of service. We place our energy in different situations. We give a piece of ourselves to a lot of people. So at the end of the day, when we're lethargic and we're sore and we're hurt and we're tired, it's because we're not fully embedded in ourselves. So you call that energy back. And that's another way of calling your power back. You have to call it back. You have to remember yourself. So if you feel like you're disconnected, it's because somewhere along the line, you left yourself somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I only remember you telling me about this experience. And in fact, I remember basing a spell off of that, what you told me, like, not long after it. But basically, it was just reclaiming my power.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because some bitch was bothering me. And so, yeah, that's awesome. And you know, there is something, obviously, you're claiming your power, so it's empowering, and it is, and I hate, that's the only word I can come up with, but it's such the right word. There's something so empowering about that, because you are, you know, claiming exactly what and who you are. And even whenever you feel crappy, just going through that, through doing that, going through those motions, you feel amazing afterwards. It is honestly something that I think everyone should truly get in kind of a habit of doing, because you don't realize how much you give of yourself to other people all day long. And especially if you work in like public service, or, you know, like, you know, in the service industry, you're giving yourself away all the time because that's your job. So at the end of the day, that would be something I would definitely do. And do you have a hair?
I'm drinking like lemonade, and I didn't. I forgot that it was like yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck's in my drink? It's pulp. Sorry.
But yeah, so, and it is such an empowering thing, and I really do recommend that for people to do. You can do it every day. It doesn't get old. It's not something that's just not going to work. It always works, and it always makes you feel good.
It does. And when you claim it back, bam, hit something. Like, if you want to hit a bitch, that's fine. That's your, don't go to jail though. Orange is not cute. But you like hit the ground, like just hit the ground, or just clap your hands together, bring that, stomp your goddamn feet. Why am I cussing so much tonight? Sorry. But you just gotta take it back. You gotta just, it's almost like creating that action step, like where you're aggressive, you're taking your shit back, and you're gonna show the spirits, you're gonna show the world, you're gonna show the universe, the cosmic soul, you're serious.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Shoot, whenever the last time I did that, I was like stomping my feet, clapping my hands, like just making a big, ridiculously loud noise. Because I'm a small person, so I'm like having to really jump around and stuff to make a lot of noise. But yeah, I mean, but that's what you do. That is what you do to feel that energy, and it's just amazing how it hits you, and it hits you hard in a good way, but it does hit you hard.
Well, yeah, and so I heard my feedback. Oh, okay, so Amy, okay, that answers it, but I'm still going to share what you expressed. So Amy says, I am working through some really tough like abuse issues, breaking away from it all, helping other family members to leave the situation right now. I'm also cutting ties. it has been more of a marathon than a race. I am tired and need to recharge energy. Any tips? That what we just expressed, like you said, is one for sure.
Let's see. There's a lot of things you can do, really, as far as recharging your energy, especially if you're cutting cords and if you're removing energy from you, like we expressed earlier, and Michael, I know, has expressed this a million times as well. Whenever you cut away energy, you need to make sure and replace it with something else, because when you don't, you leave like holes. Imagine like when you're cutting those cords, everywhere that cord was, there's a hole there now. So whenever you cut and remove those cords, you're kind of leaking energy. Think of it that way. Like imagine yourself like a piece of Swiss cheese. You're kind of looking like that with your energy. And you want to fill those holes. And so you need to pull energy from somewhere else. Crystals, even just a clear quartz is something that's really good because it amplifies energy. And let's see, if you're looking for a more creative outlet, if you want to be more creative, or if you want to really like just help your spiritual energy, because that's what this is spiritual energy. Amethyst can help a lot. Going outside and putting your bare feet in the dirt. And Amy, I know you, and you like to garden and stuff, so this would probably work really good for you. Putting your feet in the dirt or in the grass and pulling energy from the earth that way is a great way to fill those holes of where you've been cutting cords.
Right. Okay, yeah. And did I freeze?
No, you're good.
Cool. Sweet. Hallelujah, y'all. And when you are, if you're like, again, if you're doing a basic, you're scanning your aura, you are removing shit, and again, you have whatever you remove, it's going to leave an empty spot. Do not, this is my personal thing, do not fill it with white light. Don't fill it with white light. What you want to do is you want to fill it with gold. Like the color gold is better because white is so like transcendent. Like it's like divine. It's high. It's not something that's going to be rooted really. It's going to make the energy different. If you need something a little more protective, something that's going to be more like physical and have associations with the earth and the ground and the physical body, you want to utilize gold energy. Gold energy has a power of white, the white essence of what everyone thinks the white light is, but it's gold. Therefore, it is more, what's the word?
It vibrates closer to our physical plane, where the white light is like super high up there. So you start to feel really floaty and kind of airy. Yes. And it's not a good feeling, especially when you twine that with your actual physical aura.
Well, and it makes you feel kind of right, and especially when you are healing, like you remove shit and you're hurt. Like there's trauma, there can be trauma. There's other things. You put white light in there. White light actually it can be very damaging. Depending on the issue that you're trying to heal, the challenge, the dis-ease, the discomfort, because white light might put like a higher perspective, like a divine, a cosmic perspective, understanding of your pain, of your trauma. And that's not okay. It's okay when it's your choice. It's okay when you come to a place of healing where you will deal with it. But if you just put white light there and it's like you had a traumatic experience and now this energy is like you're understanding why this happened to you or why a situation happened, you have all these other things that are coming to you and it's not making you feel good because you're being forced to face this when you're not ready. Does that make sense? Like, so that's why you don't use white light. You use golden light. And when you put energy back, you want to like this is what I do. You want to move it around. It's not just you shove it in and boom. No, you you
Right.
put it in and you move it around and you're molding it to the rest.
Right.
Okay. And so definitely use that. Another interesting thing, another great thing you can do for energy, and this is just like legit energy. You can use like essential oils. If you mix like, what is it, lemon, basil, peppermint, and like a drop of lime. If you blend those together, use some good carrier oil, and there you go. That gives you, that's an energetic blend. Those stimulate, those give energy, and you can utilize that on the spiritual as well. But put it on the bottoms of your feet, your Vitaflex points, like sniff that shit, and there you go. You have energy.
Right. And whenever I'm working doing things like that, like Michael said, I don't use white light. If I know where it hurts the most, like if I feel hollowest towards my root chakra or around solar plexus, then I usually color coordinate because I'm weird with that energy that I feel is the most empty. You know what I mean? So whenever I'm pulling up energy from the earth, because that's what I like to do with the whole root thing that Michael hates a lot. But when I'm pulling it up, I imagine that it comes up in a golden form. But then as it goes through my chakras to go where I need it to go, it changes. It sort of assumes the color of where I'm putting it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, but I love how Michael talked about smoothing it in. I like to think of finger paints. Whenever you want to blend it in so it matches everything else. If you're wanting it to be sort of a light tan, and so you've got white here and brown here, and you just kind of swirl it around until it blends in. That's what I like to do. Because it's fun. I don't know. You get and it's a release because you're making it blend in with everything else, and you're sort of releasing that tension while you're doing it because you're envisioning something fun, something interesting.
Right. And I just want to say, like, because Amy said she's using opalescent, like, kind of an opalescent energy. Yes, that would be a little like white light. But there's something you said that maybe that's what you're doing wrong. And I don't want you to think, and I don't want you to think that you're doing something wrong, especially if you're trying. It's just you did it. You might not know better. And that's different than doing something wrong. You're trying, you're doing something, you're working at it. And white light is not always wrong, but it's not necessarily always the best choice.
Right.
And so you're not wrong. Just try something different and find out what works better. Try the gold light and try gold essence and see if that's going to work better. But it's not that you're wrong.
Right. Yes, it's just like modeling clay. That's a good example to use too.
But yes, y'all, it's coming to that time where we got to close up. It went by super fast, even though we were like late. But sorry. If you have any last minute questions, please feel free to ask us, and we will do our best to be of service and answer. Hopefully next week we will be able to do our show, like our series. We're gonna do astrology this week, but Mr. Hunter was not able to make it tonight.
Yes, he's having technological difficulties.
He's having more technical difficulties than I am, and that's saying something. But really, we are hopefully going to do our astrology series next week, which is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Challenging, but fun. I didn't want to do it. We didn't want to do it without him because we're all learning this together. So it's just going to be a better experience if we keep it that way. And let's see. Oh, and again, y'all, the Deviant Witchery Challenge, we still have that up. And that's just something that's going to be permanent. It's not something that you have to answer every single question. They're more like prompts. They're more, really, they're more like prompts and just to inspire and to share and to connect with one another. So if you want to do that, I'll post a link in that and just, have fun with it. Do blog posts, do a video, create something and share and utilize the hashtags or create your own and some of those. But let us know about it because it really is just fun. And it's fun to go back and to travel and to experience some memories that you haven't recalled in a long time and to compare how you were a witch then and how you're a witch now. It's just a great experience. So please join the Deviant Witchery experience and the Deviant Witchery Challenge, and subscribe to our personal channels. Melissa is doing a lot with her personal channel, and I am as well. I'm going to start doing some more. I was actually just inspired by someone to do yet another thing, but we decided to bring back our personal channels because, again, like we've said, it helps us to be a little more personal with y'all. There's a lot that we talk about here, but it's hard to talk about everything. And so we wanted to connect with all of you here, as a unit, as a whole, and as ourselves in our own personal channels where we can give you maybe more of our time or take a subject and topic and expand fully in our views on it. You will definitely see us on each other's channels probably more often than not, but it's not going to be the same feel necessarily that you get here. It's going to be very different. So subscribe to those channels. We're going to have fun. And if you all want to be a part of the channels, like if you want to be, co-host with us or something, or just, talk about something, again, you all have to know what you're talking about. But if you want to have fun, talk and share and do something, hit us up and we'll start that. We'll do some projects and we'll have fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I was just saying thank you, Layloken. And
yes.
for your contributions to the Q&A and talking with us and interacting with us, because we love that. And to anybody else that's watching that's being quiet, shame on you. Start talking.
Yeah, and even if you want to discuss, even if there's something that we say that you don't necessarily agree with, you want to discuss it, shit, go ahead. That's fine. Don't feel like you have to censor yourself on our behalf, because we don't. And sometimes discussion and debate like that is fun, and we learn a lot. One last thing before we go, because we have a members only video that we have to do. It's gonna be fun again. But one last thing is okay, y'all don't know if you know the Sassy Witch. Sassy Witch is funny that girl's funny as fuck. But we opened our own group. It's called The Deviant, The Sassy, and The Dreadful. It's a magical bazaar. It's where we are going to spotlight, the products that we create and we sell for you. We want to make it personal. We want to get to know people. We want to share, and we want to take what you have to say and create stuff for you. It's not just like we're creating the shit and buy it. No, it's more of supporting and networking, and we're going to create things that you need and you might want to use. And we love doing this shit, and we love doing this process, and it's so fun for us to be able to share what we are able to do with you. And we are also going to have free bazaar days where you are able to, spotlight your stuff. If there's something you want to sell on those days or day, you will be able to sell and take care of that. There is something that we will also do. If you have books or decks, okay, that you want to sell, you can post that in those albums at any time.
Mm-hmm.
At any time, that's fine. Books and decks in those specific albums, you can utilize at any time. And then if you want to spotlight your products that have to be handmade, that will be on the days that we express are the free days for you to do so. But yeah. So thank
Yes, and
you.
it's going to be so much fun. Y'all please, like, it's a closed group, so that way people who might not be comfortable in an open group setting, who don't want the whole world knowing what they're buying and stuff or selling, can be more comfortable. So, so yeah, just ask to join. We will approve you.
Absolutely, y'all. And again, thank you. We appreciate you. And until next week, ciao.
Bye.